episode 68 with Dodge Sports. Ewell, Anthony Romero, Tobias Baker, Jasmine Jasudavicius, and Prickett. Let's do it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 68 of FLA Exposure. Hope everybody is doing great there at home. Not a bad day here in Nova Scotia. Pretty sunny, I guess. Got outside, a little bit active. It was a wonderful day. So, again, thanks to our sponsors. Without you guys, obviously, none of this is possible. A quick shit out. We'll give you a quick shit out. A quick shout out to Maritime Madness there at maritimemadness.com. You can use the code FLA10, save 10%, and of course get free shipping in Canada. Again, Maritime Madness. You can see them behind me. Get sauced. All right, let's move right into it, folks. We got a hell of a cool edition today. This is, I guess we'll call this the Dodge Sports Edition. Matt Dodge is he's a sports agent, a certified sports agent in the NFL as well as mixed martial arts. He's a guy that does it very well. A brand that I've been following for quite a while, and I'm always interested as a promoter myself how important a manager and an agent, which is more so him, is in a fighter's career. Because to me, it's extremely important, and I can tell the difference with athletes who really deal with a high-level manager and ones that have absolutely no clue. So I guess without further ado, let's bring the man in himself. The man behind Dodge Sports, again, a pretty high-level agent. He's a big man in the business and growing very fast. So let's bring him in, Mr. Matt Dodge. How are you, sir?
What's up, Derek? I'm well. That was a hell of an introduction. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's very true, though. It's again, man, like marketing is a beautiful thing, and I think it's a very important thing too, and you do it very well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of behind the scenes things, but I'm glad someone like yourself is taking notice.
It's true, though. It's anybody who wouldn't. I deal with a lot of agents, and I noticed the difference right away. And what got you into doing this, Matt?
You know, for me, it came to me at an early age. I had an opportunity at 18 years old to work for my first sports agency. I actually transitioned into MMA as a career from the NFL. I have my experience dealing with NFL contracts from when I was 18, working in New York City and just dealing with the NFL and the big bad beasts of a lot of sports agencies and trying to compete really at a high level there. So I definitely took my lickings in that. And at that time, MMA was starting to become a little bit more of a mainstream sport. And, you know, I saw an opportunity for a transition from the NFL side of things into MMA. And I've always loved it as a sport. And we kind of moved into that, took a couple internships, took a couple job opportunities for a lot of different sports agencies. And then a couple years back, started Dodge Sports, and the rest is history.
Very cool. And that's an interesting transition. It's again, I guess it kind of, you're a smart guy, and it proves you're smart by knowing, you know, kind of following that transition into MMA as your career. What drew you, like, compared to the NFL? Obviously, you know, the NFL is big, but there's unions, there's a lot of different things that go into that, whereas MMA doesn't deal with a lot of that stuff yet.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. For me, it was just being able to, you know, be a source of change. I've always loved the sport. I saw the amazing growth potential, especially in the US. And I wanted to be a part of something big. I wanted to be at the infancy stages of something and really make a change. I had worked with a couple guys that also did a little, you know, rolling on the side and whatnot, and had an opportunity to talk to those individuals. And I'll tell you what, an MMA athlete is 10 times an athlete than any NFL player, in my opinion. The sacrifice that they have to do, and the lack of pay, especially from a regional standpoint, until you make it to the big leagues. You really have to have this burning desire to be great. And in a lot of instances in the NFL, you could get away with being just naturally good at things. And I was open to that challenge. And I think the challenge really brought me into the MMA side of things. It's not that the NFL wasn't difficult. It absolutely was difficult. But look, I love MMA. I didn't love NFL as much. I love MMA. And when you're able to do things that you love and you can do it for work and make a little bit of money doing it, then, you know, you got a hell of a setup, a hell of a deal.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just hearing you talk, though. It's like I'm a big fan of people who are passionate, because that's that I think is my biggest, my best and weakest quality for sure. My passion and things, and you're very passionate about it, and that's what drives success too. And I think that's what's cool. So if anybody's just joining us, obviously this is Matt Dodge, the man behind Dodge Sports, an agent for MMA and other sports. We're going to have a few of the athletes on that are represented by you on this episode. We have obviously UFC athlete Andre Ewell. Who else do we got here? Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, that's
yeah, Mr. Highlight Andre Ewell. Ewell is kind of how you would say it. Kind of think of it as a U. Ewell is how you pronounce it. Yeah, and we've got Anthony the Genius Romero. I'll tell you what, in your intro, you killed Jasmine's last name. Usually people don't get it right. You got it right.
Nice, awesome, cool.
One of the main
to check it.
I'd say it's about a 10% success rate. Then you got Tobias Baker, who's going to be joining us too, and Chris Prickett is going to be joining us too. He does a lot of the training coaches for some of the Canadian athletes that we represent at Dodge Sports.
Yeah, I'm really excited actually, because a lot of them are people that I followed for a lot of years actually, especially Chris. Like, he's competed obviously pretty high level in wrestling, but he's transitioned. He works with Rory McDonnell a lot, and you kind of circle around that. Is that kind of like, obviously you have Aaron Jeffries in there too. There's quite a mix of guys and girls in there, and the scene's really nice. It's a really good scene, and I love good people being successful together. It's cool.
Well, first of all, Canadian MMA is underrepresented at the highest level for sure. I think it's an untapped market, and a lot of the athletes that I work with in Canada just need an opportunity. There aren't many Canadian-based managers or agencies that are really super talented or really have the best interest in clients. So when I came across Anthony Romero, he was the first one of that crew that I started to work with. Anthony is a perfect representation of Dodge Sports, a perfect representation of the ideal client that we aim for in representing. And it just so happens that Jasmine and Aaron and Zachary Powell, who you've had an opportunity to have a conversation with, one of the best grapplers in all of Canada. Really, it's going to be fun to see his progression and evolution as a fighter. But they all have the exact same genetic makeup. It's something in the Canadian water, I guess. But I'm so blessed to be able to work with that level of professional and that level of human being.
Yeah, it goes a long way when the relationship can go both ways. It's I look at it again. It's no different than my relationship a lot of times with an athlete. Like it can be really make or break. Like it's all about working together. If you're going to be nice to me, I'm going to get you more opportunities. And it's kind of a simple thing.
And what's nice too is we mentioned at the top the coaches too. As a manager in a Dodge Sports, we keep things small by design. But at the same time, we represent close to 20 really, really high level professional fighters. And it's really myself and my colleague, Joey Torres, who's doing a phenomenal job from a marketing and sponsorship standpoint and branding. But you really have to have those relationships with the coaches, because they're the ones that are seeing the athletes on a daily basis. They're the ones who are going to give you the feedback and the criticism and just the honest, really the honest feedback that you need, because you're not there physically, And when you're building kind of a roster like we are and trying to get people from one level to the next, that type of feedback and honesty is so vital. It's so vital for us, and in making sure that we spend our time wisely, and then we get the opportunities that are right for that individual at the right time.
Very well said. Listening, man, that's kind of what I took out of that. You're a good listener.
I try to be.
But it's again, man, like it's look at I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Like, Dana, man, he's one of those guys that people, they love him or hate him, right? But I gotta appreciate his sticking to it right now. Like, obviously, everyone knows what's going on. They're trying to do as many shows as they can in the budget that they can, blah blah blah. And certain people are asking for raises, and it's a really interesting thing that's going on right now, like for the UFC.
It's funny, the timing of it, right? It couldn't be worse timing, right? As it relates to just everything that's happening right now. But at the same time, look, if I have no problem with somebody standing up for what they believe they're worth.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
problem is if what you believe you're worth is not indicative of what you bring in. I mean, then that's the disconnect, and that's where the stalemates happen. And I think that's what's happening right now with, John Jones and Conor McGregor and, Jorge Masvidal, who's right down the block from here in Miami.
Yeah.
A lot of them work with the same management company, but, everybody, in a negotiation, everybody needs to feel like they've won.
Yeah.
But I am a firm believer in standing for what you're worth. You just have to be realistic with that. And props to Dana White and all of the UFC, Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard, for putting together really, really great cards in the time that it is right now. It's the only professional sports organization that's really doing anything right now. Golden opportunity for global growth in this, and it seems like everybody's staying safe, which is great to see. And hopefully you'll see Andre Ewell in there soon, maybe on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, and maybe a couple more on the call as well today.
Awesome. That would be cool, man. Yeah, I agree. I think he's doing, and not just him, obviously there's a huge team around it, himself pulling these events off. But yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for him. He took it, he ran with it, and yeah, it's great. I think I love the way he holds himself. Like, yeah, some people don't think he's like, whatever. But I think, to be in our profession, you got to be tough, and he stands his ground, right or wrong. And that's very rare today.
Without a doubt. And it's great to have someone like him at the forefront of this, leading the charge. That attitude is what's going to get the UFC to the next level. And hopefully with all of that comes, the contracts associated with the NFL and Major League Baseball and all of that. So look, we're all in this together. We all want the same thing,
Yeah. Oh, no question about it. Exactly. So, well, while we're waiting here for Andre, I'm sure he'll be along here in a couple minutes. But so going back to obviously being an agent, a lot of it for you reflects on people fighting. Right now, sports are not like there's no sports going. Obviously, it's just starting again. But how are you dealing with that? Like, driving you crazy? Or
I'll tell you what, today I feel like a kid in Christmas because I had one of the first kind of regional fight offers here in Miami just come through today. And I just feel like it's right there. We've had really great conversations with really big promotions that are now starting to lock down dates, start to lock down locations. So it's nice to be able to kind of call some of the guys and girls and give some good news as it relates to what's next, because they've been in a situation for a while of kind of holding, trying to figure out what to do. But, the men and women that we represent here at Dodge Sports are self-motivated people, which is great because you never have to worry about their readiness. I mean, Jasmine in particular, when she hops on, she's been doing some, behind the scenes workouts and probably is in in the best shape she's ever been. Andre Ewell's had this opportunity to use the time off to recover from his arm surgery and his knees. And I think he's going to be hopping on here in a second.
Yeah, he's here now. We can bring him in. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's actually a beautiful segue. Perfect, Matt. It's like you knew the guy, eh? I guess without further ado, folks, let's bring him in. A 16-6 pro record. Fighting out of California, fights in the UFC now, just coming off a recent fight. Let's bring him in. Super honored to bring him on, a Dodge Sports athlete, Andre Ewell. How are you, sir?
I'm freaking awesome right now. How's everybody doing?
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, you're joining us here with your agent, Mr. Matt Dodge. How are things in Dodge Sports world for Andre?
Oh, for me, it is like freaking awesome. Just the fact is that, he is my candle to my cake, the one that you blow out. Thank you. Happy birthday on some stuff.
Nice.
But yeah. Nice. So how's everybody doing?
Not bad. We're up here in Nova Scotia. We're doing a little podcast. We can't do any fights. We're a little local fight promotion up here in Nova Scotia. So we're doing this podcast and, chatting to athletes like yourself and Mr. Dodge here and just kind of shooting the shit, as we say up here, man. But we're super happy to have you on, and you're a really talented fighter. What got you into martial arts?
Truth be told, it was like one of those like force given type of talents that you have to learn when you're younger. I moved around a lot. So since it was one of those situations, I always end up entering a new domain of bullies of life. It kind of like, intercept on those situations that you got to learn how to fight. And my pops was very really hard on me. So it was like one of those, hey, you're light skinned, you got to learn how to fight because everybody don't like you. So, all right.
Yeah.
So martial arts entered in that direction. And then majority of all the TV shows you watch, like Bruce Lee was on, Dragon Ball Z, if anybody knows about anime,
Sure.
that was on. So I was always in tuned on a lot of stuff. So me in the background, just shadow boxing, especially listening to LL Cool J.
You ever met him?
LL Cool J, no. But he's probably somebody I would actually like to. But before him, it would be Jamie Foxx, who I want to meet first, because Jamie Foxx is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows. We'll still have that little head bumps, but I'm a fan of Jamie.
Yeah, he's amazing, man. He's such a wonderful human being. It's, I don't know. How are you dealing with everything that's going on right now in the world, like with COVID and obviously with the recent tragedies going on in the world? Like any advice to people, like how they can kind of come out of this in a positive way? Because that's the whole message. We want to come out of everything in a positive way, right?
Positive way. Well, I end up my message: smile. Your smile ends up changing the world, and you have a good one, by the way. Yours. So you make me feel good, man. Look, you make me. You guys. Hey, thank you. But yeah, it's all due with a smile right now, and obviously progress will need to be changed, and progress needs to be like put on the table. But I feel basically as in working together, we're able to come up with a strategy to fix things. It's just that everybody actually have to put the effort to do it. If no one puts the effort, we won't get a change or a difference. But everybody makes an effort, and I'm talking about everybody at the same time and process that, everything ends up flowing. But as of right now, smile and keep smiling. That's thing that I end up quoting, or that's placed on a lot of quotes. It's, make the smile change the world. Don't let the world change you. Yeah. So there it is.
Cool. Man, it's so true. Smiling is contagious and positivity breeds, dude. And it's so true, Matt, what has being an agent for this gentleman beside you done for you?
Well, Andre he's also the definition of Dodge sports. If you're, going to package up an athlete, you want it to be someone like Andre, someone who oozes positivity and impacts change. I think that's amazing. He does things the right way. Andre's a father. Andre's a hard worker. Andre broke his forearm in the first 15 seconds of his last fight and still fought 15 minutes and fought through it. Did so with a smile on his face the whole time. Is a provider for his family, is a great role model for the young and up and coming guys that we've got here at Dodge Sports. So, what Andre's done for me personally is great. Andre's become a true friend, part of the family here. Obviously, to have somebody of Andre's caliber on the team is wonderful for our company. Yeah. It's been very, very instrumental in signing some top talent who want to become just like Andre and do things the same way that Andre does. So to put a value on what Andre's done for Dodge Sports, it wouldn't be possible.
See, you're making me blush on my end. Thank you, Matt.
That's what the thing is about this podcast, and that's one thing. If we can do anything in this world, it's spread positivity and like love. And that's so important for people to talk and be, man, so many people talk shit and they're quick to point out negativity, but it's so important. Like if a waitress or a server, if they do a good job, tell people they do a good job. I love hearing that kind of stuff. It's wonderful, man. But let's switch back to your career again and really quickly, Andre. Your first fight in the UFC was obviously a really tough one. Not an easy fight coming in. You had to fight Renan Rao. Took a win. Nonetheless, a win. Man, like you must have been on cloud nine. Must have been an extremely way to finally reach that level of, I'm a professional athlete now in the UFC. I just beat legit one of the baddest men on earth.
And you see, and exactly how you end up placing it. But the funny part about that is that I didn't know he was really the baddest man on the planet. Everybody kept telling me it, and I'm like, it's not registering to me like that. 'Cause I was like, oh, it's just another person across the way. And especially since like all the, like, basically like I had to go through a lot in Brazil. And when I say a lot, it was me in one direction, me in another direction, a lot of meetings with the doctors and whatnot, of going in and out. Excuse me. So it was just like one of those, my mind couldn't even really be set on the fight. And then he comes in like basically 6 pounds over. So my eyes, it's like, all right, man, we just got to throw because, and especially since I went through all that. So my mind was like, I came out here to fight. And I was like, no one's going to cancel the fight. We're going to fight, and it was one of those motions. And then when I did it, my mind was the Cloud9 part that actually kicked in. It wasn't like I beat the best of the best or one of the best of the best that's on his way on downhill. My thing was that the whole crowd that was basically like, hey, kill the American, the whole nine, we love him, meet me outside,
Nice.
like meet me outside, shaking my hand, taking pictures with me. And, and then the whole funny moment about it is before we went out there, people kept on like, oh yeah, make sure you have security. Yeah, you're going to have security because people are automatically getting kidnapped and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. But this is your mindset as in like, this is how Brazil is when it comes to their fighting. Like they'll do anything for their fighters. Cause it's like out there fighting is like NBA. It's like the Lakers to California, So with that, like when you end up understanding, that whole nine. So when I got out, everybody, like all the love that I ended up getting from Brazil, it was like so amazing. Everybody out there is amazing. So I feel like that's my second home and would love to go back out there and fight again.
Very cool. Not a lot of people.
That's why. Look, that's why we want Andre to fight internationally too. He has this ability, like in Brazil, to go to a hostile territory where you don't have fans. You have people who are literally on the opposite side, right? They are chanting things as Dre just said. And then you finish and you put on a good show and you entertain and they become fans. So Dre says this all the time, like he's here to become worldwide, and that's why we want to keep, let's put him in situations. And Dre, he embraces adversity, like, put him in tough, hostile territories. That's where you get the best out of him, so we're looking forward to moving forward, especially now that Fight Island, Dre is going to be in Abu Dhabi. We're looking forward to some opportunities internationally once he gets back.
Nice.
I just found out it's in Abu Dhabi, so it makes me go putting the hands in the air and everything. I'm excited about that. That's where I'm trying to go, Abu Dhabi.
Is it official?
It's official that Fight Island is going to be Abu Dhabi. I'm hoping that we can get Dre on one of those cards when he heals up.
Yes, sir. That's it.
And I'm 100% down on that because I don't want to be liked. I want to be loved. So everybody knows that.
How's the arm healing?
Actually pretty well. I'm actually about to post me actually throwing really, really, really hard with it earlier today. So hands healing up, and this is without a splint, so I'm actually like excited about it. So it's just showing that like my progress is moving a lot faster than or my healing process is moving a lot faster than normal. So I'm fully excited and it's all smiles right now about it.
Yeah. That's so great, man. I love that. I think I'm always amazed at, like, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but I'm 39 years old. So I'm a little bit older, but I do, I train a lot, probably still train 3 to 4 times a week, but I don't heal as quick. And I'm always amazed, like, at when guys like you who can go in there and compete at such a high level and just be like, like, I'm like, what? That definitely hurt. But you're just so badass. All you guys and girls that can go in there and pull it off. It's an incredible skill. It's a poker face mixed with adrenaline, mixed with I'm a total badass person.
And then also key ingredient, Alka-Seltzer. So you end up using Alka-Seltzer, you'd be good to go, man. And it's funny because my professor, he introduced it to me. It was like, you pop this like under your tongue or put it in your water, shake it up, and then right after you get done doing like a hard jits roll day, drink it, you'll be back to normal, and then I'll see you tonight. So low key, he just like tricked me to come back the next or later on the day because he does 2 days of the day, and I'm like, all right. And then ever since then, anytime I end up being sore, pop the Alka-Seltzer, you're good to go.
What? Oh,
funny story about Alka-Seltzer right now too, and Dre knows about this. Dre's last fight in Houston, after weigh-ins, I walked up to Dre. He wanted one of those smoothies, so I got him a smoothie. So I was going up the elevator, and just outside the elevator was he already knows was one of the fighters. He'll remain nameless, but there was a fighter on the UFC card who had a really, really tough weight cut, and he was in the middle of the hallway seizing up because of his weight cut. I knocked on Dre's door. Dre came out. I'm like, Dre, do you have anything? And what do you think he gives me? The Alka-Seltzer Plus tablet. And I brought it over. I brought it over, and I think he didn't even give him the smoothie. I brought him over the Alka-Seltzer Plus tablet, and this guy took that And I think it really, really helped. He obviously didn't have the ability to pull out of the fight, and that was a short-term notice fight. But I think it probably saved his life and made him healthy. So Alka-Seltzer Plus has a lot of benefits. We should sponsor the next one with them.
Dodge Seltzer. You need a new brand. That's it. I'm going to ask Mr. Romero that we're going to bring next. I'm going to ask every single Dodge client if that's a thing that you send them in the mail on purpose.
Just try right now. Now I better
smoothie and Alka-Seltzer for me.
There you go. Awesome, Andre, man. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Lots of love to you. Keep healing well. And where can everybody find you on social media and keep up with your career?
Definitely on Instagram, Day42, spelled DAII42. Would definitely give you my Twitter, but I'm still having trouble remembering the freaking name of it. I think I made it too difficult, but follow me on Instagram. I need more follows on that anyway. So definitely jump on that, show a lot of love. Okay. So thank you, Juan. Thank you again for having me. Hey, talk to you later, Matt.
Thanks, Trent.
Keep it up.
Thanks so much. There you have it, folks. Andre Ewell, UFC. That was cool. Awesome. Great guy. That was nice.
Great guy.
Yeah, very good. It's interesting. I was kind of hoping that he was going to have some fight announcements talking about Fight Island, but no dice just yet, eh?
No dice yet, but I will say this. I can say this. This last weekend, Cody Stamann fought Brian Kelleher. Yeah. Andre was offered the Cody Stamann fight at 145, which we did turn down. Would have been a massive fight. Obviously, it would have been at 45. Stamann's ranked number 12 at 35. I don't know how they would have handled the rankings if Andre took that fight, and obviously would have beaten Stamann. But we're right there, as it relates to the big fight next for him. Nice. We're in the mix.
Right there. Awesome. I love hearing that. Well, let's move on. Let's keep them going. Obviously, we have another one of your clients here, a Canadian guy, a lightweight guy with a pretty much we'll call it almost a perfect record. Let me just check here. I believe as an amateur, he went 9-1 as an amateur and then 6-0 as a pro. Fought in a bunch of different promotions. Just fought in his last fight was in March 2020. This kid is one of these kids, man. Like you said earlier about the undercover Canadian scene. This kid is a star, man, and he's got a lot of potential. And I'm really interested to see where his future brings him, Matt.
Anthony Romero, the genius. Just an absolute stud.
Yeah, he is. Let's bring him in, Mr. Romero.
There he is.
What's up?
How are you, sir? Thanks for joining us, Mr. Anthony Romero.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No,
looking like a 170 over there with those muscles.
Oh yeah.
This guy makes 155. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's the scary part about that, though. Like when you have people like him who can make that 155 and then the next day get back like 25 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it is, healthy. That's a scary part of MMA, man. Like,
it sure is. Anthony, what did you fight? What did you weigh? Did you weigh yourself before Ohio Combat League?
Yeah, I was. I was 155, right, and then I ended up being about 168, 169, right before my fight. So
15 pounds, pretty much. It's off good weight too, right? And yeah, it's scary when you have these talented guys. What got you into this whole kind of mix we call fighting, Anthony?
Yeah, it all started just for self-defense. My parents wanted me to make sure I could protect myself, right, with any bullies or even just walking down the street. You know what's going to happen. It's a crazy world, as we can see now. But yeah, and then it just kind of became a hobby, a habit. I was going every night, training Taekwondo, and then I've gotten a little bit bored with it, breaking boards and stuff. I saw that it wasn't the best way to defend yourself, and then I watched UFC for the first time, and that's when I fell in love with it, and I kept going from then on.
Yeah, that's it, man. And when you say kept going, like you've really kept going. You really have.
Yeah, I haven't stopped at all. So
no, it's what's the, obviously you just fought in March. Were you supposed to fight again quite quickly? Was the turnaround for you, or were you injured, taking a little time off?
I know that the goal for me was to get on the UFC as soon as possible. They had the UFC Saskatoon coming up. I think it was June 20th or around there. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances that we're going through right now, there's no show there.
Yeah.
So just kind of waiting around and see what's next, either the Contender Series or a short notice fight.
Yeah, well, I guess, and that's where the man to your right comes into hand. Mr. Matt Dodge. How important have you had other agents in your career, and what's been the biggest difference since you switched over with Matt and company?
Prior to working with Matt, I was just working with my my old coach. He had contacts here and there.
Yep.
But honestly, like Matt's been the best for my career. He's the best choice I've made.
Awesome.
And he's helped me with sponsorships, with fights, helping me guide me the right way, right? Instead of just throwing fights at me and saying, just take it and then we'll see what happens, right? He gives me options. It makes me feel very comfortable. And yeah.
Matt, that's an interesting word, comfortable, he used. Like, that is a word that you must be very proud to hear, because as a relationship, business, personal, whatever it is, if you can make somebody comfortable, goal is achieved.
Very nice to hear. And even on the other side, I mean, Anthony makes me comfortable, and it makes my job a lot easier when you have somebody like Anthony who, will listen to the people he has closest to him and trust the process.
Yeah.
Sometimes you run into issues where, people want to rush that process and don't want to go through, the necessary steps from point A to point B to point C to get there. Because I tell the guys this all the time, we're there. We're in this to have long, successful, prosperous UFC careers. We're not in this to be a 3 and done, like a lot of guys are, or sometimes a 2 and done if you get a tough opportunity. So, Anthony's in a terrific place right now. He's actually 7-0 as a pro. So that's okay. 15 fight winning streak. Look, 155 is a tough division. It's a shark tank in the UFC, but it's also one of the most exciting divisions. So it's a division where the UFC is trying to fill some spots. So I've had a lot of really great conversations with the UFC about Anthony. Matchmaker Sean Shelby knows about Anthony very, very detailed. We've had, numerous conversations about Contender Series happening or not happening. So, and short notice replacements. Look, if the Canadian card happened, I feel really strongly that Anthony would have been on it. It didn't, but you know what? It's okay. It's just it might not be a not right now, and something that we might just have to wait a little bit longer for. But good things are on the horizon for Anthony, for sure.
Nice. That's cool to hear. At the end of the day, it's one good thing that everybody has going for them is that everybody's in the same situation, for the most part, right? So it's not like everybody's out there jumping, getting tons of fights. So fingers crossed you can get that fight island or get back in Canada and get this guy on the UFC. And
look, Anthony has a P1 visa through, King of the Cage, which was a fantastic setup for him. I know. So just so you know, and the viewers know, Anthony had a Contender Series fight opportunity last year. We had to turn it down because of a contract situation with King of the Cage. But Anthony did things the right way, handled things the right way. They rewarded him with a P1 visa. So now Anthony can take short notice fights to the UFC here in the US if they want to do it at Apex or obviously on Fight Island or anything like that. So, we're willing and able to do whatever's necessary because he did things the right way.
Yeah, that is a really good thing to hear. Anthony, for you, is that why they call you the genius? Are you one of those guys, man, that you're like, do you look at this sport as more than just a fighter? Like, do you look at, like, obviously Matt was saying, it's a long career that you want to have. Is that the whole name, the reason behind the name? Because you take it as a business, you want a long career, you want to do things the right way?
Yeah, like Matt said, I don't want to just be 2 or 3 fights in the UFC and then just say I was there. I want to make a big impact. I want to show that Canadian MMA is one of the top MMA in the world, and like I'm ready to go whenever. And my name, I take it from as a smart approach. I take everything very calculated, and Matt helps me out with that. I don't just throw myself in there and say I'll fight anybody. Even though people will say it, but they don't truly mean it.
Yeah,
right? I'm honest to the way I think, and I try to pick the best decision possible for my career. And then also I do my best to fight smart, not just throw and then cost myself the fight. I think I've only been cut once in my whole career, and I haven't really been knocked down or anything like that. So I'm very thankful, and it's all because of the smart approach I take in the sport.
Very well said. Super intelligent response, my man. See, that's why they call him the genius, folks, right there. I got to ask you, man, like your brother, not a lot of, I don't know if any, to me, I look at it, you obviously look very similar, but your brother, man, he's obviously quite an avid little boxer, and he does a hell of a cool podcast, man. If anybody out there, give a follow to Behind the Grind podcast, Simon Romero. But did he get into this because of you?
I would say, yeah. It's been I started with the sport, and he kind of followed along. He has his own little path, right? He likes boxing right now. Who knows if he'll do MMA, or maybe his podcast will blow up. It's doing so well right now.
Yeah.
So I let him make his own decisions. I don't say you have to do MMA. You got to be like me, because it's not true. He's a smart little dude, and he knows what he's doing. And he knows which way he wants to go, whether it's being on the Olympic team for boxing, or transition to MMA, or doing a podcast. So I'm very proud of him and all the things that he does. He even helps me train. He holds pads for me.
Awesome.
And yeah, he saved my life.
Awesome. I love that, man. I think, he's such a sweet kid to watch, and to see somebody like that young of age doing such a good job, it's a really cool thing. And that's why I was wondering to see how much of an influence you were on that. Final question for you before you get going. Obviously, you trained at a Parabellum with Rory, and like, it's just pretty much, other than there's a few gyms, TriStar, out west in BC, you have your big gyms across the country, but man, Parabellum, what a absolutely vicious room. Yeah,
monsters in there. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. I'm always humbled when I get in there. Sparring rounds, grappling rounds. There's always someone in there that you don't want to be messing with. And it's helped me up my game, because I'd rather be a small fish in a big pond than a big fish in a little pond, right? And that's how you're going to continue to grow, get better, by going with people who are better than you. And that's the only way you're going to get better in the sport. If you keep dominating everybody, you're not going to know what it feels like to go through adversity. I'm so glad I transitioned to that gym. Also, Niagara top team, Chris Prickett, my wrestling coach.
Awesome.
He's really transitioned everything in my game, and can't thank those guys enough.
Yeah, it's huge stuff. It's an important thing. Like, it's written in the old age of sports, man. Surround yourself with a good team, and you're gonna really, like, obviously you put in the hard work, but you have to surround yourself with the right people. And between Rory and Chris, like, you guys obviously had this little kind of whatever the hell it is going on up there in Ontario, but there's a lot of you guys who are training together, and I love that cross training, whatever it is, to make each other more successful and to keep the level of Canadian MMA higher, I guess, right? So, any advice for anybody? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just answering. Like, we help each other. We're always throwing ideas. Roy Jiu-Jitsu, Lyndon striking, and then Prickett's wrestling. It just all combines perfectly together. So.
Yeah, it goes a long way, man. It's again, surround yourself with the right people. But we got to bring in our third guest here. One last question for you, for anybody who's in that Canadian scene and who wants to get to the level that you're at, with a good manager, with a good agent, people who are, looking after you. What do they need to do?
First of all, be humble in the sport.
Yeah.
I know everyone's different. It's hard to tell someone to be humble when they just want to share their emotions with everybody. But be patient, be humble, keep training. Things will always get in your way, but always be positive and push forward, and surround yourself with good people. Matt Dodge, Chris Prickett, Lyndon Whitlock, Roy McDonald, Parabellum, Niagara top team. All those guys are helping me. And like I said, surround yourself with good people, and you'll be on your way.
There you go. Mic drop. Thanks for joining us, my man, Anthony Romero.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, keep well.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.
Another great.
I'll tell you what. So there's effort, and then there's Romero. So I had the opportunity, my fiance and I had the opportunity to have Anthony come down to Miami for It's like a week or two to train, because he wanted to get out of the Canadian scene just for a little bit and see test himself against some people. I had him set up at MMA Masters, which is like where Miguel Baeza trains out of. Amanda Nunes started there. Cesar Ferreira.
Yep.
They have a bunch of Olympic wrestlers there. Anyway, Romero trains 3 times a day, runs 5 to 10K every day, eats perfectly, literally is probably working out 5 to 7 hours every single day aggressively, and sleeps and then does it all over again. Doesn't drink, makes good decisions, good choices. So like, I guess if there's anyone else who's listening and they want to, get to the level that Anthony's at, do the little things and put in the work, because Anthony really, really does that.
Well, and that's it. If you're not someone, there's 10 guys behind you that are, right?
Sure are.
It's very true. So, well, let's get into the third guest of the night here. Another one of your clients located out of Oregon this time, not an Ontario native. Tobias Baker is his name. 2-1 as a pro, training, I believe, out of Art of War MMA, again, out of Oregon. Recently competed last weekend in the SUG. I'm pretty excited to talk to him about that. I used to do a hell of a lot of grappling events myself, tag team jiu-jitsu and all this kind of crazy shit too. So I'm interested to see what he's got to say about competing here. Anything else you want to add to this gem?
Oh, it's going to be so fun to have the Heathen on. So the Heathen just moved actually to new gyms. He's at ATT Portland. So he's another guy that has made decisions to advance his career. I love to, every time I have a conversation with Tobias and Toby, I always have a kick out of it. So he's a class act, super, super fun to talk to. So I'm excited.
Cool. Well, let's bring him in. There we have it. Toby, how are you, sir?
What's going on?
Oh, what's up, Toby?
How are you, sir? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be on the show, man. It was good to catch the tail end of that interview with Romero, man. Great guy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously, you're represented by Dodge Sports too. Do you guys get a chance to speak with other athletes that are involved in the kind of agency as well, or how do you get to know these gentlemen and ladies?
I mean, the really nice thing about Matt is Matt's such a great guy. When you even get on with him, he wants you to talk to his clients first before you make the decision to sign on. So I really got to know Andre and Romero and a couple of the other guys, AJ, Jasmine.
Yeah.
I actually inboxed a lot of them because
Cool.
I wanted to be thorough. And then, obviously interacting on social media and sharing each other's stuff and just being supportive of our little fight community, I think that's really important.
Yeah, it really is, man. That's what I was talking about in the intro about like the difference between having like a legit manager, a legit agent, like how friggin' important it is, especially in this day and age. Anybody can post goddamn Instagram pictures, man, but are they getting you fights and making you money? Like that, like that's what I want.
Right. It's super important. And I think that was something that I would also say to like, younger fighters, kind of like to build on that question you asked Romero, that's like a big part of the game for the younger fighters is a lot of those guys have zero to, little social media. And it's just such a staple nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It is very important in that regard for sure. What got you into this whole kind of mix, man? Like why MMA?
Oh, dude, I love it when people ask me this question. I fight because I love it. I don't do it for the money, and I never have. And it's nice to get a good payday, and I hope that it sets me up later in life. But I just fight for the sake of combat, and I want to be a world champion. And I got into it young. I remember my first time ever experiencing it. I met Matt Hamill.
Oh wow!
The deaf fighter.
Yep.
So I met him, and it just kind of all snowballed from there.
Cool.
Got into wrestling. After wrestling, nothing. It didn't seem like enough. Like I wanted more than wrestling. After college, and MMA really scratched that itch. When I found jiu-jitsu, I started grappling and melding the two together, and that's what really really sucked me in was just the love of competition.
Yeah, it's funny. It's always that story, or I watch the UFC, or a mix of both. Like everybody's pretty much the same when like everybody who's kind of involved in combat sports. It's what did you think about competing last weekend?
Yeah.
Obviously, it must have been quite a ridiculous rush.
I loved it. So it was my first time, back in the cage after my loss. So it for me, I had a lot more on the line than just winning or getting experience. It was for me. I wanted to get that win back and prove that my jiu-jitsu was solid, and it was really nice to be able to just get all that experience. Seeing Chael. Seeing how these events are going to be running in the future, possible events without crowds, just getting that experience was super helpful.
Yeah, I think it would, because jiu-jitsu events normally are pretty quiet. I don't know actually about in Ontario. I'm interested to talk about Chris and Jasmine about that, because Rory McDonnell, he does an incredible event. They might be involved with it as well, Parabellum Quintet, and they've done other events too. And jiu-jitsu events, wrestling events might be a little louder, but they're typically pretty quiet. Obviously it was quiet as hell in there. You're in like a silo, aren't you, on a farm or something?
For me, it was super nice because it kind of reminded me a little bit of like what wrestling matches used to be like. Just you would just get on the mat and go. Some tournaments had a good amount of fans, but they never were really cheering for your team because we were usually wrestling away, or so I was just always used to like not having a crowd or having the crowds do. It was nice because you could really focus and you could hear yourself breathe, I would say, a lot more. So you could focus on that a little bit more.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember when we used to do these events a lot, you'd almost have to pay people to come watch it when we first started doing them, because they'd be sitting in the audience and be like, I have no idea what the hell is going on at all. Like, I don't understand it. So jiu-jitsu has come such a long way, man. And people like Chael doing these events is why. Dun, dun, dun. Go.
Yeah. No, Chael's the man too, and I loved his commentary when I got to go back and watch it. That was really fun to hear him talk about me. But
yeah, of course, like it's a memory.
Yeah, he's a guy I looked up to for a long time, especially back when he John Jones.
Just pardon the issues here. We're having a little lag, we'll call it, folks. You still with us, Tobias? All right.
Yes, I am. Trust me, I've been struggling at the beginning, but I had this trouble the other day.
You're good, man. You're good. Well, we'll get you one last question, out there. And I actually forgot it, to be completely honest. I had a really good one for you. Oh, well, we'll kind of mix it, I guess. Quick, Little Heathen, where'd that come from? And second, how important has your relationship with Matt been?
Oh man, it's been super important to my entire career up to this point between now and last year. I would say when I signed with Matt, it was super exciting for me because I had gotten that experience early to build a good solid foundation on what we were going to do with the rest of the career. He had faith in me on the regional scene, and still does. And I just like the way he did business. He came in, no ego, and that's one of those things that's really rare in MMA and in management in general. Is a lot of guys have a huge ego, and the way that they present their brand or the way that they do business is much different. And I think this is a much more integral kind of management, and it's what I like about him. It's just a handshake that really means something.
Yeah. Just a personable guy, easy to talk to. There's no bullshit, no fake. It's always interesting because I don't know if I'm correct in this at all, but sometimes I look and I'm like, you're in the pictures more than the athletes. Like some of the promoters and I'm like, why are you in the promote your athlete? No one cares about your shitty suit at all, right? But am I wrong?
Some guys have agenda. Some guys have alternate agendas.
Yeah,
you know?
Big time. It's an interesting sport, man. Well, let's get on to our fourth guest here.
Man.
We're going to segue real quick, but I want to thank you so much for joining us, Tobias. Any quick shout outs you want to give before we move on, my friend?
Hey, shout out to Matt. Matt's a great guy. I'm glad I got to get on here and chat a few minutes with you, even though my connection is kind of dainty. Just big shout out to my mom. It was her birthday yesterday. I know she won't hear this, but I just want to say happy birthday to my mom. That's kind of important to me.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to ATT, man. I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. After I made the move, and we're going to do big things.
Good. Awesome. I love hearing that. And happy birthday to your mom from all the way up here in Nova Scotia, Canada. We'll send you a clip of that, you saying happy birthday to her, and you can send it to her. And at least she'll see it that way. How's that? I'll take that as a yes.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for joining us here. Tobias Baker from out in Oregon. Thanks for joining us, Fen.
Thanks, Toby.
That's 3 for 3, man.
Yeah, look, that was cool. After Sugg, I'm not sure if you saw this in his fight. He did the same thing to the camera, to his mother, which is really, really great too. So obviously, it's
Sweet
wonderful. Yeah, he's fighting for a lot, so it's good.
Good. Yeah, I love people like that, man. He seems like a real sweet, genuine person, like just caring, right? Those are the people I want to talk to.
Man, he's the sweetest. He's the sweetest. How he's an MMA fighter, and when he gets in there, the heathen is that's like an alter ego type thing. When he gets in there, he's just so aggressive and vicious and no holds barred. And then outside of the cage, he's a sweetheart. He really is a sweetheart. We had the opportunity to have him down in Miami, like we did with Romero too, and that's where you really get to know these guys. So that was special.
Yeah. Well, let's I guess finish it off with 2 people again. It's funny because for me being a promoter and doing grappling events for so long, and being MMA and a fan in general, I've watched these people not come up to the ranks, but you see them online and social media and stuff. You're like, these people are really talented in what they're doing in Canadian MMA and stuff. So we're going to bring on these 2 next people, folks, based out of Ontario, the co-owner of Niagara Top Team, a staple in the Canadian wrestling community. Probably, I think you're going to call him in the near future one of the best MMA coaches in the country. There's definitely going to be an argument about that in the near future because I think the future is bright. Himself surrounding himself again with that whole team I was mentioning. They have an incredible team up there. So then, of course, we're going to be joined by, now you said I pronounced her name perfect on the first. Now I'm going to butcher it. Guaranteed.
Let's go. Give it a go.
Guaranteed.
Give it a go.
So we're going to try it out. We're going to bring on Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Hey, a B plus, not bad.
B plus, we'll try. She's 4-0 as a pro, but if you want to see what like a future women's legit world champion, if you want to talk to her, if you want to see what she's like to be interviewed, let's bring her on because I really think she's super talented, man, and really aggressive. But a lot of people fight aggressively, but they don't look the best. She looks really technical, and obviously that's what the whole team, again, that's surrounding themselves, right? So I guess without further ado, let's bring them in. Mr. Prickett and Jasmine. How are you guys? How's things? How are you?
What's up,
What's
guys?
going on?
What's going on?
Hey, awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it here on the East Coast. How's training? You getting a little training in?
We literally just finished.
And I wanted to say happy birthday to my mom. No, it's just,
Awesome.
I'm just kidding. I was just listening to your last one, so
Nice.
I wanted to get in the good books. If that's
That's awesome.
we just finished the training session. Yeah.
Nice. How's that going up there? Like, have you guys obviously? I've always been saying this too. Like, professional athletes they can't stop training. Like, we just can't stop. Like, how have you guys been dealing with this?
We can't stop. You know, we had to continue on through the duration of this pandemic and stuff, and it wasn't necessarily easy, but yeah, we continued on.
Yeah.
Oh no, we lost you.
No, we can. Can you still hear us?
Sorry, we lost you there for a second.
Yeah. Are you still there now? You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's interesting. A lot of clubs are having trouble. What's the focus for you guys coming right out of this? Like, are you looking to fight right away, kind of make up for lost time? Are you willing to fight like instantly, a couple fights back to back? What's your plan, Jasmine?
I want to fight right away, and I don't know whatever kind of happens. A couple fights, or just get in there, do one, and then see what they have to offer. But yeah, I want to get in there as soon as possible.
Awesome. Do you feel anything before a fight? Like, you look so focused when you fight. You really do. Like,
She's got no soul.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the thing, man. You got to have that switch, and you look like you legit are just like, get out the way.
Well, I mean, of course I'm nervous, but I don't kind of like focus on my nerves. I leave it up to like my training beforehand to make me prepared, and then just going in there. I've done all the work that I can, and I just do my thing when I'm free when I get in there.
Yeah, it's funny, eh? Like, everybody says the kind of same thing. You train so hard, and then you get in there and you're able to express yourself as an artist, right? Like, do you feel the same way, Chris? Like, when you wrestled, and what's it like for you now to be able to transition and be on the other side and be proud and be in a crucial part of the process?
Yeah, I definitely wasn't always like that, and I don't think I was ever quite to Jazz's level as far as like fearlessness and ferociousness on the mat and in how she is in the octagon and stuff. But it definitely is. It's 100% how you train is how you're going to compete, and the reason why she's able to go out there and look the way she does is because of the work she puts in. I mean, I don't know if you can tell right now, but we just finished a banger of a practice. Awesome. She was in this morning. It's 2 days every day, and she outworks anyone else in the game, or at least equivalent to. Nobody works harder than her, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So that's, I guess, why she's able to go out there and look the way she does. So it's just a product of her training and the hard work she puts in, and smart work too, not just grinding the body to the ground all the time. Yeah. Although we kind of did that today a little bit, but.
Yeah, because you never take a lot of damage, really.
She has.
I call it a couple of fights. I've taken a little more than I like, but
one in particular.
I've been really working on my defense lately, so I think going forward I won't be getting hit as much.
Yeah.
Nice. How did you find these two, Mr. Dodge?
Romero, actually, right? Wasn't it? It was fate. Yeah, Romero was the first one that I represented from that crew, and as you can tell, I mean, they're all there's a common thread, and it's the fact that they're just good people and they work really, really hard, and they're just amazing at what they do. They're good people. So yeah, Romero was the thread there, and Jasmine. I actually met Jasmine when she was an amateur, and we were thinking about when she would turn pro. Mm-hmm. My God, it's how time flies. She's now 4-0 as a professional, and truth be told, knocking on the door to the UFC. I only think it's a matter of time. I think it's going to happen this year for her, for sure.
Yeah, is that me giving you a little feedback there? But
I'm getting a little feedback too.
It might have been my hand. I think it was on the mic. Is that better?
No, it was on my end there
Okay.
too. Yeah, it's like you said, knocking on the door of the UFC is like, it's funny, man. You can watch people, and I don't know if it's like, it's not just me. Anybody who's a fan, like if you're a fan and you train, like if you do jiu-jitsu or if you're involved in martial arts, you can tell. You watch people, you can tell, and you watch Jasmine, and you're like, that she has it, she's got it, no pressure.
Yeah.
But
And when you come, I mean, when you come out to Sweat too, and some cool reggae as your walkout song,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a differentiating factor right there. That alone should get her into the UFC.
Yeah. Oh, she's really calm, I guess.
Yeah.
What's the process for you guys up in the, like, again, like we were just talking about, like that room up there between Parabellum and Niagara Top Team, legit, probably one of the best kind of like conglomerates, I guess you'd say, in the country right now.
No, that's cool to hear. Yeah, we train together. I've been at Parabellum and coaching there for I mean, pretty much my whole like coaching, MMA coaching career, I guess, probably past like 6-7 years I've been with them, coaching the wrestling and stuff. And then we decided, there was enough of us around here, we needed to open up a gym. And we'd even talked about having like a Parabellum Niagara location. Cool. So, we went with Niagara Top Team, but we're tight. We're a tight crew. We still train with them. Their guys will train with us. We go and train with them. So Rory and Lyndon and Lucas down there, they're awesome, and they've been pivotal. And I mean, they weren't in their lap. I don't think Lyndon and Rory. Well, Rory was in her corner for the last one, but I mean, we make it work between the coaching staff, and we make sure the athletes are getting what they need between the two gyms.
Yeah, it's cool. I see the stories all over the place where I follow you guys, wherever, like all over the place, different stories, but always having fun. That's what's cool, like experiencing. It's not like win or lose the next day, like having a beer or whatever. Like it's, you guys take it very well.
It might be the social media. It's not all fun, but no, for sure. Hey, we're enjoying the process, and we're trying to work on that even more, enjoying the process. But we have a good time. We all enjoy each other, and we enjoy the trips and stuff. And that last one we went up to, we got to stay at the Dodge
Cape House.
Yeah, the Dodge Cape House. That was like, I love it. The family and the camaraderie that the sport, developed. It's just cool, man. Yeah,
it really is. It's I noticed I saw a post you had there before. So like George Brito Jiu-Jitsu for Life team. So I did an event back
off the press.
Yeah, that's right. I did an event back in Ontario. Rory actually competed on submission series. I used to do these submission series events, and he competed on it. And George Brito, man, like him and Josh Rapport were actually two guys who supported it a lot. Like they were really like, I think they bought like 15 or 20 tickets and stuff. Like they're doing, and it's funny. George and I kind of had a little butted heads a little bit, man, but he is a really sweetheart of a guy and does a lot of really good things for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. We like, this is again, we just finalized some stuff today, but we're going to be affiliating with them and our jiu-jitsu team.
Nice.
Because we don't have an affiliate as of right now. So my partner, Matt DiMarcantonio, and myself will, our jiu-jitsu team will be, represented by Jiu-Jitsu for Life. So, cool. And again, Parabellum, like I love Rory, and he's like my coach and stuff too, right? He's who I got my purple belt under. Yeah. But he doesn't have the gi, so that's the only reason why we didn't end up going with Rory, is he doesn't do the gi jiu-jitsu, and we have a lot of guys on the team that enjoy it, so we want to have it a part of our program.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I didn't mean to bring that news right up, but
it's good. It's all, I mean, we haven't I guess we've, it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement and stuff, but we're moving forward. We're going to be Jiu-Jitsu for Life.
Cool. Awesome.
The top team and our Jiu-Jitsu for Life affiliate. Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Yeah. George he's done a lot for martial arts, and so has Rory too. I spoke to Rory ever since that event. He's been a guy that, we've kind of bounced ideas, and I was so proud of him when you guys pulled off that. Like first there was I don't know what it was before the quintet. It was Parabellum.
No. The quintet was the first event, and then just more recently we had the Parabellum Luke Tour.
That's right.
And that's the one that Rory and I kind of joined forces with, because I got the wrestling community a little more, like I'm involved in that a little bit more right now. yeah, we're looking forward to. I mean, his quintets are killing it, and then he did the actual tournament, which my daughter competed in. That was cool. So that was his first like actual tournament. But we're gonna do more. We're looking to do more events once all this is settled down. More of the wrestling only and jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
I saw some pictures. It was beautifully done, really beautiful. From like from my side of things, like as a promoter, I look at it, I'm like, wow, that is beautiful. As a fan to watch, like, really well done.
It was really cool coming from wrestling because I only ever wrestled in like high school gymnasiums and stuff like that until like later on. But it was really nice to have like be able to showcase wrestling like that.
Yeah.
And the wrestling community really responded well to it. So I think we're gonna keep going at it.
Yeah, you could do that all across the country for real. It's a beautiful thing. If we can help anyway in the East Coast, I think it's great. And
that's awesome.
Keep it up, man. And I don't want to hold you up too much, but Jasmine, a question for you. Like again, you're right now like you're kind of the face of Canadian MMA as a female and more as a male too. Like you're really doing great things. Like, what's that feel like? To be a leader for that, because whether you think it or not, if you make a difference for one person, a female coming up who thinks she can get to your level, what do you take from that?
I actually love that. Like I help out with the kids classes here, and like just like seeing them, like their moms or dads or whatever will like tell me, like the one girl, she was like doing sit-ups in her bedroom the one night at like 10 o'clock at night, and then the mom's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I want to be like Coach Jasmine," and like just little things like that like melt my heart. And so like I love seeing like obviously the guys too, but like especially the girls getting involved in martial arts, because it's harder for a girl to get involved with it than a guy. And so it's nice to see them like get into it and love it and excel. And it really warms my heart. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool to be a positive role model is a pretty powerful thing. So keep doing it, and both of you guys keep doing positive things in the community. And you're noticed out here on the East Coast. I've been a fan of both of you for a while, so keep doing positive things. And we look up to you a lot. And if there's anything we can help you with on the East Coast, please let me know. Any final words for these two beauties, Mr. Dodge?
I look, and future's really bright for obviously both of them, Jasmine in particular. Sorry, Chris, but the UFC is very aware of Jasmine, and anyone who's tuning in, you'll see Jasmine in the UFC this year. I promise you that.
Awesome. Very cool. Good for you. Very proud of people who work really hard to get that success that they deserve. So lots of love to you guys in Ontario. We'll hopefully stay in touch in the near future, and we'll go from there. There you have it, folks. Chris Prickett and Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Ooh.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Thanks for having us on. Thanks, Dodge. Best manager in the game. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Cool. Any other shout outs you guys want to give out right quick?
Go ahead.
Shout out to
Never top team.
Nice.
Shout out to the gang. Everybody being patient with us, not being open for these couple months. We're looking to get back. I miss all the kids programs. Like Jazz is a big part of the kids program, and my partner Matt. We're looking forward to seeing everyone again and just getting back to the winning ways with her, and just that's it.
Cool.
Thanks to you for having us on. Thanks again, Dodge.
Thank you.
Anytime. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. Man, another two. Awesome client you have there, pal.
Yeah, you see, we're really selective. You ask anybody who knows anything about our process, Joey and my process, it's rigorous. We have a scoring metric, and we have to talk to people. We have to go through references. We don't just take somebody on paper. You're 4-0 on paper, and you ask to get signed by Dodge Sports. It's a whole lot more than that. And as you can tell, right? I mean, there's nobody on here that will hop on and be a bad representation of us and our brand and what we're doing. Because look, one bad client, it just sours the whole crop. Yeah. So we have to be very careful about everybody that we bring on. And I'm glad that, look, they were all on time. They were all great. Yeah. A lot of positive energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of trusting in the process. Because in this game, it's not just about, what you can do out on the mat or what you can do on the ring or what you can do in the cage. It's a whole lot more than that. And you got to make sure you check all those boxes in order to be successful. So I'm happy that those guys were all able to show exactly what we see in them every single day.
Yeah, very cool and very well said, man. But again, everything takes a great leader. So take a little pride yourself too. Obviously, man, like it's from just dealing with you, the dialogue, professionalism. Again, like you said, every single one of them were on time. And for me, on time, like here I am, I'm running the stream. I'm trying to do everything while I'm doing it. So sometimes I'm messaging people where you at or whatever, and it becomes like just little things like that, man, go a long, long way, and it just shows how on the ball you really are. So, man, keep it up.
Respect, if you show people respect, you be timely, you do those things, you'll get it in return. If you don't get it in return, cut it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. You don't have time for that. And especially in Dodge Sports, again, we keep it small by design. That's because we only have so much time to give, and we want to make sure we give it to the people who are going to value it and do the same thing in return.
Yeah, it's true. Is that the guy I asked, Joey? Is that Joey Fights on Instagram?
That's Joey Fights on Instagram. Joey Torres. Yeah.
Yep.
So I brought him on. I actually brought him on. He's the first. He was the first. I guess you can call it agent manager that I brought on, aside from myself, at Dodge Sports. He's actually signed a couple really amazing top talent. Nick Maximov is the most recent signing. Was on the same episode as Tobias was. It was great to have two Dodge Sports fighters on Shug last weekend. Maximov is great. He's a Diaz guy. He was actually the offer that I was talking about earlier. Earlier when we hopped on, he was the offer for Miami. So look for him hopefully in July to fight. We've got Kai Wu, Justin Wetzel. Joey's done a phenomenal job bringing a couple new guys on, but then also just kicking butt on sponsorship and marketing for the men and women that we represent, and really making the agency even bigger. So a lot of love and respect for Joey.
Cool. Awesome. I love that, man. Well, I guess, we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. I know you're a busy, busy man, and I really, really appreciate your time. And that's Dodge Sports edition number 1. Look for number 2 in the future, folks. Hopefully we can get a few more of Matt's athletes on and, continue the process and continue the dialogue and of where your athletes are in their career and continue working together. And yeah, hopefully FLA and Dodge can maybe put some fights together in the future.
Would love to. Appreciate you having me on the platform.
Awesome, man. Thanks again for joining us. There you have it, folks. Where can everybody find you, actually, right before I let you go there, man?
Yeah, Instagram's the best way. It's Dodge_sports. Look, if you're just interested in the game, if you're an athlete just wanting some guidance and advice, if you're a media member or promoter wants to book, feel free to reach out. I run it myself. I reply to every message, even if it's crazy. So I'm always willing to help and give my time and whatnot, especially if they mention FLA in the direct message. I'll be sure to prioritize it.
Cool. Awesome, man. That means a lot. You're a driven guy, man, and you motivate me a lot. You keep doing your thing and keep being there for the athletes in the right way. So lots of love from this end, from a promoter side of things, and hopefully we can meet in the future and share a beer, my man. There you have it, folks.
Absolutely.
Mr. Matt Dodge of Dodge Sports. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Eric.
Awesome. Fantastic episode, folks. Episode 68. Wrapping it up there with Dodge Sports. A really, really cool episode. The first kind of one. We've done roundtables before. We've done side-by-side interviews and stuff, but that was kind of the first of her kind where we brought an agent or a manager. So Matt Dodge, Dodge Sports, one of the, there's managers and stuff. There's agents up and coming, but this guy is very classy. If you follow him online, super classy, super driven. One of those guys, he really does motivate me when I say that a lot to be, do better and get up and get my ass moving during the day, because, if you're not 3 people behind you are ready to step on your toes and take what you work for. So work hard, folks, and stay the course. Again, fantastic athletes there at Dodge Sports. Andre Ewell, that was a cool chat. We moved on there. We went to Anthony Romero, based on Ontario, and then Tobias Baker, and finished off with, I'm not saying their name again for the 3rd time. But it was a great episode, folks. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'm not sure. Tomorrow night we have Sam McCall out of New York, upstate New York. We have Kent Peters, and we have Matt Kwan out of Vancouver. So 3 grapplers, MMA grapplers, instructionalists, those kind of people, I guess we'll say. Host a podcast, 2 black belts and a brown belt, I believe Sam is. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. If you can be anything in this world, my man, what are you going to be? You're going to be kind. And more importantly, you're going to go to maritimemadness.com. You're going to use the code FLA10. You're going to save 10%. And, of course, get free shipping anywhere in Canada or free shipping with $35 purchase anywhere in the world. Again, maritimemadness.com. You see some of the sauces right here. Get sauced. You see them up here. Get there, check them out. Made locally in Prince Edward Island. Really, really great supporters of the show. And get online at our Facebook page. Subscribe to YouTube. You can also catch our podcast on Spotify and Podbean. Currently running a podcast contest on Facebook. I'm rambling like hell. I gotta go. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. I love you. Goodbye. As always, thanks for tuning in, and thank you to our sponsors. We'll see you tomorrow.